already know that he has speed, he's got power. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? But those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
Look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference.
Too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo.
Mean Machine, who has shared the ring with Terence Crawford, firmly believes that size won't decide the outcome of Crawford's clash with Canelo Alvarez. He argues that Crawford's skill set is on another level, with ring IQ, adaptability, and timing that Canelo won't be able to match. In his eyes, Crawford is one of the most calculated fighters of his generation, able to adjust mid-fight, dismantle opponents regardless of size, and control pace, distance, and rhythm. For Mean Machine, this fight favors the sharper, smarter fighter, and that's Terence Crawford.
That the urgency's not there, the fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right. If you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that it just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh, my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you could make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. He didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you could make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you could make that. You could make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You could make the argument it was too young in his career. Maybe. Although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16.
Mean Machine draws a parallel between this fight and Canelo's 2013 bout against Floyd Mayweather. Back then, Canelo was younger and inexperienced, and Mayweather schooled him with speed, defense, and ring generalship. He believes Crawford has the tools to replicate that approach with movement, precision, and counterpunching. However, he points out one major difference: today's Canelo is far more experienced. Over the years, he's fought and beaten elite opponents, learning patience and adaptability that weren't present in the Mayweather fight.
Crawford, Canelo's too big. Right now, my position changed. I think Crawford is too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo, but the way when you see he's too big, when you see Usyk fights and what Usyk did to the big guys like Joshua and Fury, so the size and that doesn't matter. I think the skill level matters. And Crawford, he gained weight, but I think he's gonna be even faster, and his head was good in the ring. He's boxing IQ just on top. So I would say 50-50, but right now I'm kind of leaning more to Crawford.
And that's just because of what you saw Usyk do?
It's not I'm just giving an example. Size doesn't matter in the boxing. When they say Canelo is big and he's fighting 175, 168, and Crawford just moving from 147, 154. So I'm just putting an example that size doesn't matter, and that the fighter makes the fight. I think it's just that I see that Crawford's training and that he's big too right now. So he gained weight, but not and lots of people gain weight that sloppy weight, I would say fat, but he gained he looked strong, massively strong. So I think it's gonna be a good one.
How did Terence feel physically when you faced him? How is his strength? Because a lot of people do make the point that Canelo's just maybe too big, too powerful for Crawford.
Crawford, I wouldn't say like his punches was like super strong, but his timing and accuracy is the what makes different.
Former world champion Regis Prograis sees things differently. He doubts that Crawford's punches will affect a naturally bigger, granite-chinned fighter like Canelo. Prograis notes that Canelo has absorbed shots from some of boxing's hardest hitters and remained unshaken. Still, he doesn't dismiss Crawford completely. He acknowledges Crawford's world-class skill, ability to switch stances, and flawless game planning, qualities that make him dangerous even against someone as tough as Alvarez.
Throw hard, but they don't. They just throw, and he throws like his calculation for the punches and like timing and aiming to the right spots is just like on another level.
Do you think that's going to be the thing that complicates the fight the most for Canelo?
I think so, yeah. And like, yeah, like we can go back a little bit to Mayweather Canelo and Canelo. Yeah, Canelo was young and like Mayweather smart, but it can be like familiar fight like that. Even Canelo right now have more experience, and Crawford is still on his prime. So yeah, we will see.
From just your experience, you knowing boxing, like how do you think the fight will play out? Do you think it'll be a slow fight? Do you think it'll be tactical? Like, do you think Crawford?
I think it's gonna start a little bit slowly. They're gonna be careful with each other just to kind of like measure each other and see where they at. And like they're like that's why like they're like champs and they're like great ones. They just don't go like crazy like from the first round.
Jose Vargas Jr., who has sparred with Crawford, echoes Prograis skepticism. Vargas admits Crawford is sharp and precise but doesn't believe he has the punching power to hurt Canelo. Having faced much bigger punchers in the past, Canelo has proven his durability. Still, Vargas concedes that timing, accuracy, and consistency can break down even the strongest fighters, though he doubts Crawford's shots will be enough to stop Canelo from pressing forward.
I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You gotta look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. His head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him troubles, Irislan, De Lara, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol, they gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that. But I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee. So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't. Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about great. This might be. I mean, people might kill me for it, but well, not really. But this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right?
Mickey Bay takes a more controversial stance, accusing Canelo of cherry-picking this fight. He claims Alvarez has a history of choosing opponents at the right time or with size advantages, and that facing a smaller Crawford fits that pattern. Critics have echoed this view, suggesting Canelo is using his size and strength to tilt the matchup. Still, Bay admits Crawford is too skilled to be written off. Even as the smaller man, Crawford's intelligence and adaptability could flip the script.
Going to be done in camp.
All we're doing is putting the final touches. I mean, I've been sparring Ron Ellis. I mean, this guy is a dog, bro. He's been getting me ready. I mean, he's been Canelo's sparring partner. Shout out to my guy Ron, man. He tries to knock me out every single sparring. This guy fights at 68. Big dude, goes southpaw, and hits hard. So I know he fought Benavidez. So he's a veteran, and he's doing veteran tactics in there where he's not letting me rest in the clinch. He's making me work every second of every round. And I got something for Callum. I got something for the whole boxing world. And I feel you're just as good as your preparation. And we've been doing the road work. We've been doing the mountain work. I've been recovering hard. I've been getting my rest. I haven't been drinking no dark sodas, bro. I'm feeling like Tyson Fury right now, bro. Like,
Promoter Tom Loeffler takes a broader view, focusing on the spectacle rather than the matchup itself. He calls Canelo versus Crawford one of boxing's biggest events, with two global superstars bringing massive fan bases. Loeffler stresses that fights of this magnitude transcend the sport, they capture mainstream attention and draw in casual viewers, making it one of the most marketable fights in modern boxing.
That size comparison type of a thing to make it seem like it's not a type of cherry pick that he has to go up into this battle.
So he a lot bigger. See, people looking at height. Height don't got nothing to do with weight and where you've been fighting at. Like, Terrence put his weight on, so it's a difference. No, Canelo's a lot bigger, like, hands down. Like, just mass, as far as mass. He naturally that thick. He got to come down. Terrence, just because your weight is up there, that don't mean that's like putting a dude, Benavidez, a heavyweight. He might walk around at 205 or whatever. That don't mean he a heavyweight, though. So Canelo was by far the bigger man. We didn't see him hit dudes 6'3", 6'2" in the arm and hurt him. Like, he didn't hurt Kovalev, light heavyweight. So, I mean, didn't he have a light heavyweight title?
Well, when he fought Kovalev?
Just period at light heavyweight. Didn't Canelo win the light? Did he?
Nah, he just Kovalev. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, he might only fought there a couple times, but the fact that he fought up there though, and he fought way up at light heavyweight, but he been at super middleweight for a minute, so he the bigger guy for sure. So really, he got to hurt Crawford, or he got to get his major respect. He got to get his major respect to make Crawford feel like he got to survive. If he can't do that, then he probably ain't gonna win.
Do you feel like you was talking about Crawford? He needs to poke his way out of this fight, right? We've seen that, Crawford's been lined up by lots of fighters. Not Errol Spence, of course, but other fighters that was able to line up with shots that don't necessarily hit like a Canelo. Now, Canelo going to line you up regardless, right?
Actually being in the ring on such a high-profile show, it's huge. It doesn't get any bigger than that, and you got to give credit to both guys. They're both very confident. They both have very passionate fan bases. Callum, having fought in Dublin, packed the arena out there, the 3 Arena, having fought at Madison Square Garden 3 times, fought in Boston, and then Fernando Jr., from one of the biggest boxing named families, in the history of boxing. He's going to bring out a huge fan base. So it's a really exciting addition to, such a big show that like I said, doesn't get any bigger than that for sure.
I agree. I think that you, along with me, have seen some of these criticisms of the undercard. But really, when you look at it, I mean, we both know Callum Walsh so well. The personality and the authenticity that he brings to this sport is just so sincere. He's so real. Being from Ireland, coming overseas to train and dedicate his life to this craft, and his personality is so magnetic that it obviously brought someone like Dana White to be a huge supporter of him. I think in these weeks leading up to the fight, the fighting public who does not know Callum Walsh is really going to fall in love with him, especially, by fight night.
Saudi boxing power broker Turki Al-Sheikh is credited as the driving force behind making this fight a reality. While his financial influence has made dream fights possible, some analysts question whether they're always competitive. In this case, critics point to the size difference and argue Crawford may be at a natural disadvantage. Still, without Al-Sheikh's involvement, this fight likely wouldn't exist. His vision has ensured fans get a once-in-a-generation event, whether or not it's the right matchup.
And Benavidez Jr., Canelo, would have mopped up all of these dudes, bro. Would have mopped up all of these dudes. Like, when we're coming out and saying that this is a complete mismatch, and this is a joke, and this is a fantasy fight, you know what I'm saying, that Turki Al-Sheikh dreamed of, and we know he's a big Crawford fan, knowing, the level of star power that Canelo Alvarez has, and he had the bag to make this fight happen. it doesn't mean that it's a logical fight for boxing, bro. At the end of the day, man. You know, you guys tell me if Terence Crawford would have beat Triple G. Tell me if he would have beat Billy Joe Saunders. Tell me if he could beat Bivol, even though, yeah, Canelo didn't beat Bivol, but tell me if he could have beat a Sergey Kovalev. And the other loss Canelo has to Mayweather, man. Crawford, you know, nobody in the world I felt could have beat Mayweather in the height of his career, bro. Tell me if Crawford, bro, would have just flat out went in there and beat a guy like Miguel Cotto, Daniel Jacobs. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, it's the level of competition that Canelo faced, man. And these dudes that he went in there to beat. You know, Terence Crawford is nowhere, you know, has fought nowhere near the level of competition that Canelo Alvarez has fought. And I've had some comments talking about, you know, you talk about we're going off of our emotions and you're going off of your emotions. You're not giving no facts, bro. Like, this is all facts right here, bro. The fact of the matter is, bro, Canelo Alvarez has fought at light heavyweight. The fact of the matter is, Terence Crawford has only fought once at 154 pounds. And the fact of the matter is, he was getting touched up by those right hands all night, bro. By Majumov. That's the fact, bro. The biggest, most dominating fight he ever had was against Errol Spence.
Trainer Dave Coldwell highlights Crawford's versatility as his biggest weapon. Comfortable fighting orthodox or southpaw, Crawford creates angles, disrupts rhythm, and keeps opponents guessing. Coldwell stresses the importance of footwork, slipping in and out of range, using lateral movement, and avoiding the ropes. Against a pressure fighter like Canelo, this mobility could be the key. For Coldwell, Crawford's path to victory isn't about power, it's about ring IQ, discipline, and movement.
From when the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch. He's very good as a southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic. His punch picking is fantastic. He's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more breakdowns.